I'd like to give the floor John first, and he will have 20 minutes, and he will introduce our RISAP Turkey activities. Then I will give the floor Judith to introduce the innovation call. We thought that you can have one hour duration, but if it is a shorter presentation, then we will have some questions. Maybe we can ask questions during your presentation, after your presentation. And then finally, we will give the floor Ayşegül to give information about a project and maybe as a success story or what is EIT urban mobility projects look like. So John, the floor is yours. Can you share your screen?
Yes, thank you very much, Abdurrahman. So I think you can see my screen right now. Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So welcome everyone. Today we are going to speak about the innovation call in 2022 for EIT Urban Mobility. Before that, I would like to give some information about EIT Urban Mobility and our activities as RIS Hub Turkey. So what is EIT Urban? What is EIT? What is the philosophy between the institution of European Institute of Technology? So, as you may know, there is an innovation paradox in Europe. I mean, within the previous frameworks programs, there has been lots of knowledge generated, lots of know-how presented. The outcomes of the research projects, they are huge. They are very novel, unique in a way. But there is always a gap in turning them into social and economic impact, into a real monetary value. So, however, in fact, the existing of a good research base and dynamic companies and creative talent, the European Union sees an opportunity or a gap to turn these into economic impacts, and then established the Institute of Technology to turn these good ideas into new products or services. So it's basically turning the know-how into something more concrete, into something more that has a monetary value. So the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, it is, as you know, it has been established under Horizon 2020, the 8th framework program, and it is continuing in the 9th framework program in Horizon Europe. The main motivation is to create more products, more innovative services with using the results of the previous research projects, or the increase the TRL of the existing research into higher levels, so that it can turn into products and services. So how this is established? This is established through the knowledge triangle that brings together business, education, and research centers. So if you create a synergy between these parties, then from idea to product, from lab to customer, and from student to entrepreneur, this transformations occurs in a very fast and systematic manner. So what EIT does is that it scouts the potential technologies or mid to high level know-how technologies, TRLs, and then with certain investment on them, with certain supports, it tries to converge these ideas into new products, new services, and try to facilitate the entrepreneurial activities within the European research area. So the European Institute of Innovation and Technology is the umbrella, but it has various subcomponents. It has different there are different EITs established in specific areas. You can see in the screen there is EIT Climate KIC, EIT Digital, EIT Food, which is working on the food innovation and production, EIT Raw Materials, EIT Energy, EIT Health, And the last EIT established is EIT Urban Mobility, and I think there will be a new EIT for creative industries. The EIT Urban Mobility is a brand relatively young when you compare to other EITs, and has a very good dynamic, and very lots of funding opportunities there are. So each EIT, they have their own specific missions, they have their own strategic agendas, but overall, there is also one EIT strategy that governs all these EITs established under. So EIT Urban Mobility, what the main mission of the EIT Urban Mobility, as the name suggests, is the solving the mobility challenges facing the cities together. Here, the word together means a lot, because EIT Urban Mobility tries to facilitate different disciplines, different stakeholders from various public or private institutions to create something tangible to provide solutions to the mobility challenges, to make the cities more livable, to make the commute within the cities more tolerable, and things like that. So the main challenges, as you can see, the model for urban mobility is not sustainable when you consider today's paradigm, and it requires immediate change. 23% of Europe's greenhouse gas emissions are produced by transport, so this is a huge impact. And 50% of public space is taken up by roads. So basically, we are using the lands to create roads. Half of the lands are wasted, like for these purposes, you can say. And 67% of the road accidents happens in cities. So this is because of the lack of infrastructure, or the driver behavior, or the infrastructure. As I said, the technological barriers may cause this. And when you consider the commute, the time spent while commuting between the living space and the working space, it took average of 1 year for an average citizen during the whole their work life. And when you consider the traffic jams, almost like 130,000 billion euros is lost per year due to this congestion. So we are, because of the problems in the urban mobility, we are wasting lots of resources, energy, and we are exactly causing somehow harm to the environment. And we need to change this. There is a need to change this already ongoing culture, if I may say, to become more sustainable in the urban mobility area. So having said that, the problems, the impacts of these, the main inhibitor for change is the lack of integration. So the lack of integrated urban mobility and space strategies for cities is one thing. And also fragmentation and silos, insufficient collaboration at system level, because the urban mobility, the problems, the solutions for the problems for urban mobility requires talents from different disciplines, technologies from different areas, and one has to orchestrate this to provide something at the system level. Otherwise, all of these technologies isolated in some other disciplines will not come together and provide something impactful and something meaningful. And also, slow adaptation of regulations is one of the inhibitors. Lack of interdisciplinary talent, as I said before. We need to educate, we need to create human resources that could bring solutions, that could have this out-of-box thinking to provide solutions to the problems that I mentioned before. And also, there is a slow behavioral change when you consider the urban mobility. We need to motivate the citizens to take alternative mobility options. We need to create a change in the culture within the city, and we need to adapt this new mobility opportunities. So how are we going to do that? Exactly, EIT Urban Mobility has 5 integrated programs to overcome the burdens to fulfill this one mission. So the first one is business creation. Here, the aim is to create business, to create spin-offs or startups that could benefit from the technologies and become scale-ups, and then provide more technology, more product services to the ecosystem. Here we have also city clubs containing cities. These cities, they define challenges, they come together to solve the common problems faced in the cities, and within the city clubs there are lots of brainstorms and there are lots of discussions so that the best practices can be shared, and the problems can be taken or tackled in a multiple manner. Also, there is an academy in the EIT Urban Mobility that provides both basic and professional knowledge for the urban mobility area. Here you can see the graduate programs in the urban mobility within certain universities. You can apply one. And also you can tap into this vast resource of scientific outcomes or the professional knowledge within the sustainable urban mobility or successful proposal writing. So there is also a library that you can benefit from. And innovation, the fourth one, is the main objective for today's meeting. In the innovation area, EIT funds promising innovations that could turn into an impactful product or a service within the market. So these innovations, when you consider, they should provide a good cash flow, and they should provide a good social economical impact within the society in the urban mobility. And the last one is the factory. Here in the factory area, the main motivation is to leverage the best practices or the good products, services within the globe, so that we can somehow create a cultural change. We can somehow scale up or expand the impact created by the outcomes coming from the innovation projects or the successful businesses created in the business creation area, I may say. So in EIT Urban Mobility, we have 5 innovation hubs. These innovation hubs, as you can see in the map, there's Innovation Hub Central in Munich, and also Innovation Hub East based. The central location is in Prague. Innovation Hub North, which is coordinated by Copenhagen, and Innovation Hub South, governed by Barcelona, and Innovation Hub West Helmond. And apart from these innovation hubs, we also have regional innovation schemes. What are the difference between regional innovation schemes and innovation hubs? Regional innovation schemes are like the extended areas of the innovation hubs. So they are like the regional innovation scheme regions. The areas are the areas that expand knowledge created within the innovation hubs and try to expand the activities or the services offered by the EIT Urban Mobility to the areas within the European research area as well. And Turkey is one of the regional innovation schemes supported by Innovation Hubs Central as well. So EIT Urban Mobility Partner Ecosystem, as you can see in the screen, there are lots of partners coming from different areas. There are partners from municipalities, cities, there are partners from knowledge institutes, research technology organizations, higher education institutes, and also from industry. So as you may recall, I mentioned the knowledge triangle, which is the core the main heart of the philosophy in the EIT, European Institute of Technology. So the synergy created between these partners create or turn the knowledge, the know-how into tangible products or services. So the mission for EIT Urban Mobility, the targets, if I may say, for 2026, is to have 60 cities in City Club. So EIT Urban Mobility would like to expand, try to involve as much as cities in the City Club to create more discussions, to identify more problems, more challenges, and also to have 100 core partners. I will give more information on the partnering system. 180 support startups, around 1,500 educated graduates, the professionals, 80 EIT branded events, 60 EIT risk outreach events, and 36 million investment attracted by EIT ventures. So from the businesses created, EIT would like to generate this high level of investment by EIT ventures as well. And also the overall goal is increased share mobility in all partner cities, the change in paradigm of the mobility, the urban mobility in the partner cities. So when you look at the KPIs, the key performance indicators, 90% of the cities freeing up 1%, greater than 1% road space annually. So this is one KPI. So we want the cities to disband the already existing road space and provide something more useful with these space area. 50 companies involved in EIT labeled education programs, 167,000 participants in the academy. As I said, there are lots of education programs, the library you can reach. So the outreach of this should be around 1,700, 1,700. And 125 products on the market coming from the innovation projects or business creation activities, and 80 factory consultancy orders to scale up or expand the startups to make them much bigger companies, to expand the impact created within the research hubs or the innovation hubs into other parts of the globe as well. So mobility for the cities of the tomorrow is the main motivation of EIT Urban Mobility. And here, as we can see, how are we going to reach that? EIT offers certain memberships to the partners that would like to become a part of the EIT Urban Mobility. So the first tier is the core partners. Here, core partners are the partners that takes place in the governance and strategic dialogue. In fact, these are the partners that govern and direct the activities of the EIT Urban Mobility. And these partners has to pay 50,000 euros annually to sustain their membership. Then we have gold partners, the leading cities. Leading cities also have an impact in the strategic dialogue in the EIT Urban Mobility, but does not play an active role in the governance. However, they take part in the project development, the ideation, the matchmaking sessions, and also could fully benefit from the marketplace and non-EIT funding activities as well. So the gold and leading cities should pay 20,000 euros annually to sustain this membership. And then we have silver partners. In the silver partner, unfortunately, they cannot take part in the governance or the strategic dialogue of the EIT Urban Mobility, but they will benefit from the project development process, the ideation and the matchmaking, and also the marketplace and non-EIT funding as well. And the last part is the network partners. Here, the network partners is the the entry tier for the EIT Urban Mobility, and the network partners can only have some benefits from the marketplace. The three levels of engagement, as I said earlier, for a different kind of memberships. Here, the core partners, they govern the EIT. They have voting rights. They can elect the chair and deputy chair, and they access to all resources of the EIT. And the leading cities and the living labs, they somehow vote for the chair and the deputy chair, but they have a limited effect in the governance. And the network cities, they participate in knowledge transfer activities, and they are visible in yearly high-level city events. So from up to now, I tried to explain the philosophy, the mission, and the core structure of the urban mobility, EIT urban mobility. Now I will give some information about EIT Resub Turkey, our activities in EIT Resub Turkey. So EIT Urban Mobility Resub Turkey is a resub actually under the EIT Urban Mobility Central Innovation Hub. So we aim to increase the awareness of urban mobility and the visibility of EIT urban mobility within the landscape, within the national area. We try to build and improve the urban mobility community of Turkey, and we manage and run a startup accelerator program and business creation activities to increase the entrepreneurial activities within the urban mobility area. We organize info days, we engage with stakeholders and ecosystem to increase the urban mobility activities, to make the visibility, to increase the visibility of the urban mobility activities within the ecosystem of Turkey. So the EIT Urban Mobility Resub Turkey composed from 3 partners. The coordinator is Fark, which is an automotive OEM tier 1 company, and also Fark Labs, which is the entrepreneurial branch of Fark Plus. Fark Labs creates businesses, provides supports to new ideas, and incubate the startups within itself. And the second partner is PwC, one of the big fours. PwC is an audit and consultancy company, and it has a big knowledge in European Union and also national funded projects. And within this experience, PwC will help the companies, the partners from industry, to engage the EIT urban mobility innovation calls and projects. And the last partner, which I am from, is the Sabancı University. Sabancı University is a university and research institution that an active research and a dedicated laboratory on smart mobility and logistics. So Sabancı University also tried to bring together the higher institutions within the Turkey to create more sustainable research outcomes for the urban mobility ecosystem. And as you said, as I said, we have 3 different experiences and backgrounds, and within these backgrounds, we'll try to bring together all ecosystem partners to improve the urban mobility in Turkey. Here, how are we going to do that? We engage with private sectors and investors, and we engage with the cities and public institutions, and we engage with universities and research institutions. And also we have consultancy services and routine engagement with startups in the urban mobility area. And we also provide information and try to extend the effect of NGOs within the urban mobility system and try to support the policymakers in their decision making. And lastly, we also engage with the citizens in our activities, try to get their feedback and try to communicate this knowledge, this feedback within the cities or the private sectors or other partners within the stakeholder, within the ecosystem, sorry. So we have some flagship activities that will continue for each year. Here we have, as you can see in the screen, an accelerator program called InnoMotion. This accelerator program focuses on urban mobility issues, provide training and mentorship activities, connect with investors and customers. And this accelerator program is also a gateway for the startups to engage in special grants and investments coming directly from the EIT Urban Mobility and EIT network. So it's basically a bridge for the national startup ecosystem with the EIT Urban Mobility and its network. In 2021, we had 22 beneficiaries involved in the program, and in 2022, we will execute the program as well. And as a success story, we can say that a startup called Optiol secures an exclusive funding from EIT Urban Mobility through the InnoMotion program. So the InnoMotion program acted as a gateway for Optiol to benefit from that investment. The next activity is Connect for Mobility. Here, in the last year, we held a 2-day event to define the needs of urban mobility ecosystem of Turkey, to discuss the gap in urban mobility field in Turkey. Urban mobility for Turkey is a relatively new area to discuss within the stakeholder, within this extent network. So it was a great impact. It has a great impact and a good feedback we received. And we will continue to organize these events, and then we continue to provide feedback or get information from the stakeholders as well. Basically, this increases the awareness of urban mobility and its importance at the national level. Urban Mobility for Workshop is the last flagship activity the RISHAP Turkey organizes. At the end of each year, we bring together the selected stakeholders from urban mobility ecosystem to analyze the urban mobility activities within the Turkey and clarify the needs and bottlenecks of urban mobility ecosystem, and try to develop new ideas, new solutions, new business models to overcome these bottlenecks and problems. And also to develop new methods for startups in terms of developing their competencies is a topic that is already being discussed in these mobility workshops. And at the end of each workshop, we create a report that has some suggestions, some ideas for the policymakers as well, and we circulate these reports within our wider network. So in 2022, what are we going to do? We will create a city-thon in April with the Marmara Municipalities Union. We define the city challenges, and this will be integrated with InnoMotion. So the successful partners from the city-thon will be invited to InnoMotion to further develop the ideas and then further create startups. The main target for InnoMotion is to create 10 startups, but this could be more. And the Connect for Mobility will be held in October. And Urban Mobility Workshop, as I said, will be held at the end of the year. And apart from what is different from the last year, in this year, we will have some courses for municipalities, professionals, and individuals. This will be organized together with the academy part of the EIT Urban Mobility. So this will also take part in 2022. Other activities than these are the engagement activities between Turkey and Europe, project and proposal support through EIT Urban Mobility programs, which we do currently for 2022 innovation calls, the information days, together with the RISHAP partners and also the Turkish National Funding Institute and also the National Contact Point for European Union 9th framework programs. We will provide trainings and we will provide many services like consultancies or validation activities with the help of our partners, and the living labs and the cities. So this is all I can say regarding the mobility and the RISHAP, EIT Urban Mobility and RISHAP. Actually, this presentation was presented by Emre in the last 2 events, but he couldn't join today due to another urgent meeting. So if you have any questions regarding the EIT Urban Mobility and EIT RISHAP Turkey, you can ask Emre, or you can ask me, Abdurrahman, as well. Emre is the coordinator of RISHAP Turkey on behalf of Fark Plus. So you can follow us from our Twitter, Instagram, and social media accounts as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Can, for the presentation. I think now we all know what is EIT and what is EIT Urban Mobility, and also what is the difference between RISHAP and EIT Urban Mobility programs. And I think most of the time participants asking questions to join RISHAP project, Judith, I can say that we would like to join as an organization to the RISAP. They thought that it is a platform that they can join and benefit from EIT mobility. But it's a project running for 6 years. I think from now on we have 6 years, and the main aim is to increase the awareness of this program. So thank you very much, Can. And I would like to give the floor to Judith to give information about the current innovation call. I think this is the main presentation of the event. And after that, we will have some questions. If we have time, we will ask the questions after that. Okay, the floor is yours, Judith.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, but
okay.
No.
Yeah, I know I couldn't unmute myself while sharing my
Okay.
screen, or at least I didn't know how to do it.
I think on the top of the menu, you can wait.
Yeah, now it is there. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. To begin with, John, I think you can introduce EIT better than I do, so you can give me some training on that. And it's always nice to see how well RISHOP Turkey is doing. I have liked the presentation and to see again what activities you're doing. And I also really like how you have connected all the activities so that there is like a flow and everything is connected in terms of your activities and the goals of EIT mobility. So well done. But for the people who do not know me, I'm Judith. I'm the Risk Innovation Officer, which is basically what the name says. We have two, let's say, departments or thematic areas within EIT mobility, which is innovation, like John already explained. And there is also a headquarters in Budapest that is RIS, and RIS is a program set up by EIT, actually by the European Commission, but by EIT, to focus on a certain region in Europe and support them extra because these countries are considered or defined as moderate innovative, so below the standard of European innovation. And that's another department, and I'm basically the person in between. So I make sure that the RIS region, the countries that are seen as under the RIS, that they are integrated within innovation activities so that you are represented. And Turkey, as you can imagine, is one of these countries. So that's why I'm here today. So we are around 10 people. So I think this is a perfect size of a group to stop me if you have questions immediately. We can be a little bit more dynamic. And also, please help me focus on the right things, because to be very honest, I don't know the level of knowledge you have about the innovation call. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's a little bit. So help me that I don't say things that you already know, or also ask questions so you leave this meeting with the information you need to apply successfully, okay?
Okay.
So let's use the time as useful as possible. Okay, let me make my screen big. So the call that we are going to speak about is the main program within innovation department. Okay, so it's the main activity we have once a year. We open up a call in which consortia apply for getting their innovation project funded. So this year, the end of this one is the deadline. There is the call for that would start next year in January. These are projects between 1 and 2 years, as you can see here, the dates. Okay. So to begin with, I wanted to let you know that there were some innovation days. What does that mean? It means that we, as the innovation department, gave different webinars on the innovation call to inform our network. I wanted to show you this because the specific presentation I'm going to kind of copy, but I adapted, of course, a bit to you, is the official call for the innovation launch, which is the basic information about the call. But if you need more information, which you probably will need if you're applying, all of these events have been recorded and put on the B2 Match platform that I can give you the link after, if I don't forget. So, for instance, there is a training on Plaza Plaza is a tool in which you submit your proposal, and there you have all the explanation and how this tool works. There is a training on RIS. So RIS is what I explained you before. It's a regional innovation scheme. So the applicants that want to go through the scheme applying as a organization coming from RIS, which has budgetary benefits, of course, that's the whole point. Here it is explained how you do it, but I will already explain this quite well today. Then we have different recorded webinars about the different challenge areas. I will also explain you more about that later. But basically, if you need more information on any of these things, they are all on B2Match. Okay, so there is all the details. Let's start. Who applies to the call? As you know, in European projects, these are consortia. And who is eligible to apply? I think this is quite straightforward if you are familiar with European projects. But I think the main difference between if you were familiar with the innovation call of previous years is that this year the call is very much open to the whole organization over whole Europe to apply. But it's true, like John already mentioned, that if you are you will get approved and you will get funded by the innovation call. That would mean that you become a partner or a member, and then you would need to pay a partner fee. Okay. The thing is, since you are RIS, since you're a country that's RIS eligible, your fee for the first year can be waived away. It's a word I also only recently got to know, but it basically means that you can request not to pay the fee in the first year, because of course the whole aim of RIS and the program that we have in RIS is to attract organizations from countries like Turkey, Latvia, Slovakia, so countries that are underrepresented and would need extra help in that sense, to attract them to the innovation call. So that means you also have benefits, okay? So keep that in mind, but everybody can apply to the innovation call. And being RIS, you could be exempted from the fee in the first year. Is that clear? Stop me if it's not. I'm happy to.
Maybe Judith, I can ask a question about it.
Go ahead.
If it's longer than 1 year project, so we have to become a partner, I think, in the second year. So this exemptions is valid for the first year. If the project continues to the next year, so we can pay the second year fee. Correct.
So for instance, if the project is 1.5 years, that would mean that you don't pay the first year, but you would pay proportionally the half a year. So not for the whole year, but for the half a year that you are. We recently launched this new, we have a new partnership model that's different than from last year. It is true that, and keep this in mind, that they are still working a lot on how things will go and how this new partnership model will work in terms of risk, etc. So, but in general, this is how indeed it will work.
Judith, I have several questions. So the second one is, if we have 2 funded projects, is it still solid to pay the first year, or we have to pay and become a silver partner for the first year?
If you have,
if you have 2 funded projects, not one project, but we have to.
It doesn't make a difference. But that's the thing. So the reason that we said it will be waived away leaves also flexibility, because our goal in EIT UM-funded is to get as many organizations from these underrepresented countries. So it is also true that the rule is a bit flexible. That's also why we put in the call text waived away. So it's up to discussion as well, these type of things. Okay, so I don't know if you have any more questions about the partnership.
Yes, one last question about this, because I prepared them. And the last one is about the budget limitation. If we are not a silver partner in the first year, so do we have a budget limitation that we can get from EIT UM-funded? Like 60,000 euro, or there is an...
Okay, I know where you're going to. I will come back to that later, but I want to highlight, and I know it's very complex, but we have to split two different things. One thing is Turkey is a risk eligible country. Okay, so you are a country that falls under the region that is risk. So that means that you can try to get or you will apply to get to not pay the first year. Okay, but the other thing is specific to the innovation call, which is a bit different. One is EIT level. That's the partnership goes to EIT, if nothing to do specifically to the innovation call. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if you apply to the innovation call for the risk funding, okay, I will explain you more about that later, through the risk channel, okay, and we accept you as being risk within the innovation call, then specific limitation might apply and also specific benefits might apply. But if you get accepted to the innovation call, being paid from innovation budget and being treated as a normal partner, even though if you don't pay partnership fee to the EIT in general, then these benefits and limitations do not apply. Does that, it is a bit complicated, but the point is—
I understand very perfectly, but I think if a participant or a company asks me the question, I think it is very difficult to tell them. But I understand, because there is a budget limitation for, or dedicated budget to risk countries, and it affects some different rules, but there is a specific budget for innovation call. I know the differences, so now it's clear for me. Thanks.
Yeah, I will explain it again today so that everybody understands. But about the partnership, this is an EIT Urban Mobility general organization. It has nothing to do with innovation department, business creation department. It's just like I'm from Turkey, an organization from Turkey. I might apply for the benefits of risk. Can you please waiver away my partnership fee for the first year? And then later we'll go to what it means now in this innovation goal. Okay.
Yes.
And then, of course, I forgot to mention that this year as well, which might not be so relevant for you, but you can apply with non-associated countries. What does it mean? So we have the EU member states that are eligible to apply for European funding, such as EIT funding. Then we have all these countries that are not EU member states, but they have signed an agreement with Horizon Europe. These are called associated countries. Switzerland, it's Turkey, yeah. You are also an associated country, it's true. Now, from this year, non-associated countries can apply, okay? But here you can read a bit the conditions for it, but this was not possible last year. This is just some side information. So, challenge areas. For the people who are not aware, innovation has, together with the cities that they work with, because it's demand driven, the things we want to address in the challenges we want to address in EIT mobility. So we have defined the most important urban mobility challenge areas that are relevant for our network. And under these challenge areas, these defined challenge areas, we also have aligned the call of innovation, which means that we have now the 4 challenge areys. And you will apply under these. So if you have a project on walking through the city, that would fall, you would apply under active mobility. So the 4 challenge areas are active mobility, future mobility, sustainable city logistics, and mobility and energy. Okay, so there are 4. As the name says itself, active mobility is about improving the city's livability through making a citizen walk more or doing more physical activity on the one hand, walking, cycling, e-bikes, kick scooters, skateboards, etc. And of course, if you encourage your citizens to walk more, you make your city better because there are less cars and there's also more space. As you can see in the picture, more space to walk and to have a nice life, basically. So this is the focus of active mobility. The future of mobility. The future of mobility has to do with technologies, new technologies, disruptive technologies, and how they are applied within mobility, and how the application of certain technologies enables new services and products in mobility. Let's give some examples. Drones. Drones is the perfect example in which you can completely change business cases, business models, and the way mobility is done. It's very disruptive. Internet of Things. Blockchains, all of these type of technologies enable services like autonomous driving, connected vehicles, urban air mobility, mass. I mean, I think that you know more about these things than me, but this is the second challenge area on which we are focused. Sustainable city logistics. This is about the transport of goods and not people. It's about making it more efficient, making it more green. Yeah, so this is the third challenge area. Fourth, mobility and energy. This is about alternative energies, basically. Infrastructure, it's about hydrogen. This year we want to focus a lot on hydrogen. It's about electric vehicles, new ways of charging your vehicles. So these are the four challenge areas, and I think they are broad, yes, but it's good to read them very well in the context, because they give hints on the things we're looking for and the things we're not looking for, because we are also an organization that does portfolio management. So that also means that we want to fund multiple different types of projects. And maybe this year we focus less on mopeds, and this year so just to give an example, it's good that you understand very well what the challenge areas are, so that you fit the project and you propose a project that we actually want to fund. Okay. Here again, about these challenge areas, there are specific webinars in the B2 Match. So if you want to get more insight on what they mean, I would recommend to watch them, because also in these webinars there are some of our networks partners, that some startups in cities that explain example projects in these challenge areas. And the last thing I want to say about the challenge areas is that what I mentioned before is, so we have a budget and we have to do portfolio management. So this is not set in stone what you see here, but this is an indication of what we would like to see in 2023. So we have around 13, 14, 15, yeah, 15 million euros to fund in this innovation goal. And if you would split it within the different challenge areas, this is the amount of projects we would have, okay, approximately. So there is, for instance, a lot of budget in future of mobility and logistics. And then if you look closely, you can see that they split innovation and risk innovation. Okay, what does this mean? We have a budget. So how this organization works is that we have budget lines, and innovation is one budget line. Business creation is another budget line. Education is another budget line, and we define different activities as there. But a separate budget line is risk. So the money we spend on risk region is called risk innovation. But that doesn't mean that there are some Turkish organization paid from the innovation funds. But I just wanted to let you know that there is a specific fund, which is called risk, that we add to this general innovation fund, so that allows us to increase the participants of these countries. Is that clear? Okay, so if you see here that one project from active mobility could be between 200 and 300K approximately, or future mobilities is between 250 and 275K. We have some extra budget and risk that we put on top as additional funding. That's basically how you have to see it. Okay, there is some money that goes to continuation projects. There are some projects that are running this year that we will fund also in the next year. So we have a specific budget kept for funding the second year of the projects that are already running now. So that's what you see there. Is that clear?
Judith, maybe you can explain again the number of projects funded, because there are, for instance, for future mobility, there will be 6 projects will be funded. And these are the estimation, I think, 4 projects for type 1 and 2 projects for type 2. But maybe there will be 5 projects.
It's funded. Indicative. It's to give you an idea that we do portfolio management, so that we want to see approximately an equal. But of course, if there are many more good projects in the future of mobility, I mean, we cannot, but it's also part of portfolio management. And this is like the ideal scenario, what you see here.
I see. Okay, thanks.
But the age you see, that's fixed, because of course we already know which project we're going, unless they don't perform well this year, and they don't go through their evaluation, we say you don't do well, we cut your funding, then we would even have extra budget for moving it up, for moving it to new project. But this is like the ideal situation in 2023. Okay. Great. Project type, because here you can always see that we apparently have a type 1 and 2 projects, and this is new from this year. So the aim increasingly is to have rapid innovation. What does this mean? We are not research projects. We are not the type of project that take a couple of years and we do further research and we develop the product. No, we work much closer to the markets and with higher TRL levels. So that's why this year we introduced a shorter project time frame. We have 2 types. So the first one is type 1. This is what you in theory are more familiar with from previous years of the innovation call. These are projects that are between 300 and 800K of budget. And the duration is 12 to 18 months. So this is approximately then the time to increase the TRL level of the product or service you're developing in the projects. And for type 1 project, indeed, we are looking for products that already have TRL level 6 or above. So this is where they start with. And during the project, the aim is, of course, to get it as high as possible because we want to monetize it. We want to put it on the market. That's the whole aim of our type of projects. There is a minimum of 32 co-funding. And it's true that I will explain you later that for the organizations that manage to get the risk funds, so the risk applicants, and they are successful, they only pay 20% of co-funding, which is a considerable difference. And this is one of the budgetary benefits we offer with this extra budget to the organizations we want to attract. I mean, let's see. So a minimum of 2 cities, a minimum of 2 industry and SME applicants. And then let's see, the type 2 projects. These are smaller budgets because it's about rapid development and about products that already have a TRL level 7 or above. So we have to start here with a higher TRL. Otherwise, you don't have enough time to get up the TRL. So it's between half a year and 1 year. But the consortium is fairly equal, or the eligibility at least. So 2 cities and then 1 industry SME applicant, mostly then focus on 1 product. Okay, let's see. I mean, this is quite obvious that we want at least 2 countries, so 2 different member states, and the quadruple helix, so that the organizations from different sides of the innovation spectrum. Okay. I think that's clear. Do you have any questions about the type 1 and type 2 projects?
Actually, I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Because currently we are preparing around like 7 or 8 proposals. We are helping our organization, Turkish organizations. So there are different scenarios. So they are asking questions, and now today I will ask these questions to you.
Go ahead.
Maybe we discussed internally with Can and Emre, but the co-funding rate. So you mean that risk country organizations will give at least 20% funding, co-funding, but should we get the rate of 32% in total? So
no. Okay. So it's a good, I mean, it is one of the questions that I knew that would be a bit complicated. I mean, our fault, of course, it's EU rules, but so usually co-funding, how it is obliged to be calculated is on a project level, right? That's why you're asking the question. So it's like on a project level, the co-funding should be 32%. And that if one partner has a bit less, then the other partner should compensate for that. Correct. Yeah. But the difference here is because of the budgetary lines. Since they come from 2 budget lines, they're split. So that means that the organizations that apply for the innovation fund, that I will explain you later what is the difference in application, but they should compensate each other for the 32%. But the organization that will be selected as part of RIS and that pay 20%, they're split. They will also be bureaucratically or administratively, they will be split into another record because they have another budget line. They come from the risk budget line. And therefore, because of that budget split, the other partner should not compensate for the 20% of these risk partners, if that makes sense. Is that clear?
Yeah, not too much, because if we submit a project, let's say two partners from risk countries and two partners from not risk countries. So if, for instance, two Turkish countries, organizations, so the co-funding rate for Turkish organization can be 20%, and the, let's say two German organizations co-funding rate can be 32%. So not the total project. In that sense, maybe overall project co-funding rate can be 26 or 27.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay, right?
It's okay. Because what will happen, and it's we are for you to know, we are new, like John said before, a new organization, and this whole experiment of taking some of the risk budget from the other department and put it in the innovation call is a new approach since last year, and we're trying to improve it. But because there were so many administrative and legal requirements, which means that there are two different budget lines, it's a bit complicated to make it happen in practice. So what is going to happen is that you as a consortium, so imagine there are 4 partners, of which 3 are from Germany and 1 is from Turkey. Okay, there are 2 different things you can do. You all 4 just apply as normal partners, then there is no problem. Everybody pays 32%, and you're just all partners. Even though you're a Turkish organization, you're not obliged to apply through RIS. You can perfectly just get the innovation funding. You're not obliged. The second way to do it is that the 3 German partners apply, and together with the Turkish organization, but the Turkish organization decides within the application to write, I want to apply for RIS. Okay, ticks the box, I want to apply for the 20%. All 4 partners just add their budget lines, and indeed the total budget will be below 32% because you will have calculated in the 20%. But this is not a problem, because what will happen that after you get approved, we take this risk partner out of the project, with at least for the budget, and then the 32% will be compensated in, and the risk organization, let's say, will have their separate record in terms of budget, which is a workaround that we had to do this year. And next year, we'll probably have a new kind of tool to do these kind of things, and we will facilitate it. But for this year, since we still work with Plaza, this is how we had to do it. Yeah,
now I'm very clear about this issue, but maybe there is a further clarification. If we complete the risk budgets, then even if I submit the project as a risk country member, but if we don't have any risk budget anymore, so you will say that, okay, now you will have the money from innovation budget, and you have to pay 32 co-funding rate. So maybe it can be a maybe very technical or detailed issue, but if the risk budget finish and your project funded but not in the first 2 or 3 in the list, then it can be another scenario about it.
In theory, that can happen. In practice, if you were from Czech Republic, Spain, Italy, then I would be more like, don't apply for the risk budget, assume that you will get the innovation budget, because we are overrepresented of these countries within innovation. With Turkish partner is different. But later I will explain you what conditions you have to fulfill, okay, so that it's more clear. But if you fulfill the condition, I wouldn't worry about that. And if it's the case that you don't get the budget, so if your project is good, that's the basic thing. Your project is good, you get approved conditionally, okay? We go into conversation. It's not like suddenly we make it work together. We go into negotiation phase, is what we call it, and then we talk.
Okay, now it's okay. I think I'm very clear about it, and I think most of the organization will ask this question, so it's very clear for me. So there's another question about the TRL level and
of course
the commercially available or not available technologies. So, for instance, one SME has a product running in Singapore, let's say, but not the very similar technology, but now they will use this platform they are running in Singapore
Yeah.
They will apply to EIT urban mobility. So sometimes, or there are similar questions about it. If we have a commercial product, so is it TRL 7 or above, so type 2, or if we have a product but we don't have any field trial or demonstration, so they will go to the type 1, I think. So do you have any specific differences or expectations? Because if there is a commercial available product, it can be applied to these programs to expand maybe their market size. Is it possible, or they don't be a commercial available currently? So what is the difference?
I'm not sure if I understood the question. You mean like if you have a product of TRL 7, if you have to apply for type 2 or 2? One, I didn't get the question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so for instance, there is an SME and they have a product running in Singapore. They have a software solution, and now they would like to apply this solution to Turkey or European cities. So I think it's looked like a type 2 project because they have already demonstrated.
I think so too. My instinct says type 2, but of course, if you want to apply for type 1 because you have to develop some extra feature for Turkey, you can. There is no obligation to go for type 2 or 1. Although we prefer type 2 projects because that gives a feeling that you're going to be quick, because indeed, if it's the case, if it's just about applying and adapting, I would say it's a type 2. Also because if the product is ready, it's TRL 7 and above, I would say.
Okay.
Because it's market adaptation, which is different than... Okay, great. Let's see, what KPIs. There is one other difference between the type 1 and 2, and this is very important to keep in mind. Key performance indicators. So we, as EIT Mobility, for you to get a bit of understanding why this is so important, we get funding from the EIT, and we have to report back KPIs. And these KPIs, they come, of course, from the project we fund in general. So that's why the KPIs are very important, because we are dependent on them to get money from the EIT. So that's why we are so strict with them. The KPIs that are relevant for innovations, or that are applied to innovations, because Business Creation Academy have different KPIs, but for us it's marketed innovation, the pilots, and the startups created. These are the three main KPIs, and these are the market innovation and the pilots are mandatory. So if you apply, you have to have these KPIs. Now, market innovation. There is a document somewhere that explains what this exactly means. I think that the Turkish hub might have it, or otherwise I send it. But a market innovation is an innovation that shows a new product, so new marketed product, or an considerably improved product. So it's a product that already existed, but it's improved by adding specific feature to a specific business case or a thing that you understand. And if you have a type 1 project, you have to have 2 KPIs. Either, because it's not very well, I realize this is not very well explained in the slide, so I'm going to try to highlight it very well. That means that you either have 2 marketed innovations or 1 market innovation and 1 startup created. So this word optional is a bit confusing in my opinion, but the point is you need to have 2. So either 2 marketed innovation or 1 market innovation and 1 startup created. Is that clear? That's very, very important. For the type 2, you just need 1 marketed innovation or 1 startup created. Okay, so sorry, 1 market innovation.
So Judith, for 2 mandatory KPI for demonstration means that there will be 2 cities and 2 demonstration in 2 different cities is okay.
Yeah, that's
so once. Yeah, so this is the main, I think, requirement of the call. And for the type 1, I think we need two additional KPI, I think. For type 2, we only 1 product, maybe marketed innovation, let's say, but for type 1, we need 1 marketed innovation plus maybe a second marketed innovation or a startup creation.
Correct.
Yeah, this is also a bit confusion for us because for the startup creation, I mean, because for instance, we have large enterprises, they have in-house project ideas that they would like to scale up and then spin out the ideas to the as a new companies. So is it also possible to include a large enterprise to the consortium after the ending of project? Maybe they can spin out the idea as a new company. Is it okay for the KPI? Yeah.
That's
Because there are several questions on that. So
it is important though that the KPI is fulfilled within the year. So that means that they have to do the spin-off during the year somehow. I have project now that do it in the beginning, some do it in the end. That's completely optional. But
so
the startup has to be spin-off, of course, within the KPI.
Within the project duration, within the. I think it's a bit difficult to create startup during the project duration, but yeah, I will inform them.
There were different methodologies because I, for instance, a project that decided to make the startup and develop the product as in the startup already doing. So it's not like you develop the product and validate it and then you create a startup. They did the other way around. So it's very up to the product, the project.
So for the marketed innovation, I think I have an example on it because we are discussing with a group of organization. For instance, they would like to create a platform working on Google Maps and, for instance, bring some features and connect some mobility activities. And also they're asking to integrate a payment system in the project. So it can be two different marketed innovations. So in that sense, so we can say that the first is a platform, mapping platform, and the second is maybe payment system. So that we can split the KPIs.
It is okay. Keep this question. I would ask them again, and we have to talk then to Antonio, who is responsible for financial sustainability of the project, because in the end, the KPIs are linked to the financial sustainability of the products that you develop. So ask it, I would ask it again so that we make sure that what you just said is really considered as two products, because the evidence of a market innovation to prove you comply with or you achieve the KPI has to do with a revenue that you made of this product. So if you sell these separately, then it might make sense. If it's the same product, but you just split it because they have two different features, it might not be the case. So keep this in mind, but let's come back to this specific case after this call. And we talk to Antonio, because I also don't dare to make like fixed statements about this.
So last question about startup creation. Currently, there are some companies, they are recently established, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and their solutions are still not commercial. So we are bring that organization, and actually it's like a startup creation, but they have already established. And after this project, maybe they will start to sell their products. So still, it is very solid that it should be a new startup creation or a startup established maybe 1 year or 2 years ago, but they don't have any financial revenue. So.
I think the most important is that we have certain rules, yeah? Okay, you need this and you need this, and this is what a KPI looks like. But we are doing innovation. Everything is different and specific. So that's why I would recommend, since you're developing the product and the project proposal, and you have an idea of what you're going to create, ask this to us, and we go specific case by case, and we will set a call with Antonio. And I think it's good to engage in these discussions from the very beginning, because we have had some cases that they only start questioning the KPI and financial sustainability in the end of the project, and then it's not okay. So it's good to understand what is required from the beginning. You go into call, you write down the minutes that you confirm, so that you have proof of what we have discussed, and you keep it, and then we keep in dialogue. I think this is something we really have to implement. So write these things down, organize a call, we talk with Antonio, and we discuss what we consider indeed, yes, as a KPI. I would be careful for this, because this would mean that even before you apply. And then, of course, when the project is approved, we go through through these discussions again. And from the beginning of the project, we make sure that by the end of the year, you have complied with the KPIs and financial sustainability. So it's a mutual responsibility, if that makes sense. Not only yours, it's ours, and we need to talk.
Okay, it's
Okay?
clear. Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
So risk, we already talked about it quite a lot. I don't know how interested you are, but like, so what happened, the European Commission made a European innovation scoreboard. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but this is a scoreboard in which European Commission did research, and they came up with some variable that define whether what is innovative or not, and they analyzed all the countries of Europe, associated countries, basically. And then they said, okay, this country is very innovative, this one is less innovative. And there are four categories: innovation leaders, strong innovators, moderate, and emerging innovators. And the orange and yellow ones, these are the ones that they say this is risk. These are the risk eligible countries. Well, actually, sorry, the European Commission made this visualizations, but it is in the end that the EIT said, look at this European Innovation Scoreboard. Many European funding programs are failing to get these moderate and emerging innovators within the funded countries. Because what happens is, if countries apply, who is getting the money? The ones with the best proposals. And who has often the best proposals? The one that are already super innovative, because they're going to submit an application that is completely different than what already is being done. They have a lot of money, so maybe consultants wrote the proposals and they win. So what happens is the gap between not so innovative and innovative increases because the money goes to the innovative ones. So the EIT said we should not allow this to happen. Let's look at the scoreboard and let's make a risk program in which we get extra funding to get money to these countries so that they catch up with the rest. That's the idea behind it, okay? And Turkey is indeed the emerging innovator. And that's why you belong on the risk. But the thing is, EIT invented or came up with this program and said, okay, risk, each KIC will get risk money on top of the innovation budget, business creation, whatever, but you choose how to implement it. You are the ones who make the strategy. And innovation in specific, so I'm now talking about not EIT Urban Mobility, but I'm talking about the strategy of EIT Urban Mobility, is twofold. One is we want to include underrepresented regions. So we want to use this budget not to just give it to all the organizations of all these countries, because it's like 70% of the whole region, but we want to focus on the countries that are underrepresented. So make sure that we have organizations. So we need this money to cherry pick all the organizations, or sorry, all the countries that we don't have yet in the innovation program. And secondly, the partners that we don't have yet. So newcomers. But so here, let me show you, for the innovation call of 2023-2025, if you look at the total budget we can spend on this call, only 15% of that comes from the risk funding. So it means it's a small budget, but that doesn't mean that we cannot fund more organizations for these countries, but it would just not be funded from the 15%. Does that make sense? So that's a bit so if you apply, you can perfectly be funded by the innovation budget, because looking at previous here, we have spent more than 50% of our innovation budget always on countries that are coming from risk. So it's like even more, probably even 60% go to these. If you would include Spain, Italy, Greece, then it's even higher, because these are countries that are risk eligible, but we pay them from the innovation budget because we consider that they are overrepresented innovation call and they don't need the extra benefits to be included into the funding scheme. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's clear for us. Yeah.
Great. So, so like I said, you can apply. If it's a good project, you will get funded either from risk or from innovation. And so if you get funded by the innovation budget, you don't get the budgetary benefits like the lower co-funding. And it's always good to mention that the FSM requirement, this is the financial sustainability mechanism, which I can explain a bit later, but this is always on a project level, so not on a partner level. So risk partners do not have to If you're new and you don't know how this works, you don't have to think you're alone responsible for this. It's the whole consortium. Budgetary benefits. So lower co-funding, it's very simple, 20% or 32%, and the discretionary waiver. Although I want to mention here that this is not what I said in the beginning of the call. This is not necessarily directly linked to the, if you get risk funding, it has to do that you are a organization from a risk country. So what are the conditions? We have limited risk budget, like I mentioned now already 20 times. What are the organizations that will have the highest chance to get it? These are not eligibility criteria, because in theory, everybody is eligible within this region to apply for the risk funds. But of course, there are also evaluation criteria. If we have 100 organizations applying for it, which is not going to happen, of course, who do we give priority? So all of them are eligible, but who do we give priority? These are the evaluation criteria. So underrepresented risk countries. So that means that we are going to not, probably the organization within Spain, Italy, Greece, and Czech Republic are not the one on the top list. All the other countries, including Turkey, yes. And then, of course, if you were a partner before, like Istanbul, the city of Istanbul, for instance, you cannot go 2 steps back becoming a risk partner or risk sovereignty. This we don't allow. So we don't, it's always that you are not part of a business plan yet. And 3, we don't give the perks, of course, to large multinational and national monopolies. I think that's obvious that we wouldn't give this 15% to these organizations. In the call text is a bit better, or is a bit better explained, or in the frequently asked questions document that you can find on our webpage that outlines the call. You can find a bit what is exactly the step-by-step process of evaluation. Is a bit, because what if you are an organization that didn't participate yet, but yes, you are from a represented country, or the other way around. We have like it's a kind of scaling for this. So you can find more details on this. But in theory, if you are a new participant and you come from Turkey, you should be good to go. That's a bit the general message for you. Now, how do you apply for the risk budget? And this is very important to explain, because I've already felt that some people, for good reasons, were a bit confused about this. But you apply as a consortium. End of the story. You go to Plaza. You all apply together, you put all the partners in there, their budget, everything. You apply with the same activity plan. It's one submission. The only difference is that in tab 3, there is something called activity specific info. And there is a section on risk partners. In that section, you just say this and this organization that we mentioned as partner in tab 1, they would like to apply for the risk funds with so much budget they have. And this is why we think they should get the risk funding, because they're underrepresented, because they just play a bit with the wording that I showed you before. So here you mention them. With this information, after you get approved, we will go into negotiation with you and we say, yes, we will take these partners out. We will give them a different record and they get the 20% co-funding. Now it is, and it's what you asked me before. Here it is written, support allocated per risk subgrantee should be around 50 to 80K. We cannot do this legally, because you cannot give specific conditions on a partner level in that sense, but this is a preference. So we would give more chances to the ones that ask for less money, because we want to give this 15. We have limited budget, and of course we want to give as many chances as possible to the organizations that applied for it. But it's not obligatory. What we would recommend to go between that budget. Okay. Wait, what did I do? Let's see. So this is the only difference. You just mentioned them in one tab. For the rest, the application is just one application. Here is an example. For instance, this is an energy project with a budget. There's a bigger budget last year, which we want to avoid, 900K approximately. And here you can see that they applied as one consortium, but this is 2 Greeks or 3 Greek organizations. Turkish. They applied for the risk funds, But they are acting as a consortium, and they are of the 20% funding, etc. Here another one, this is a Slovenian partner. One of them is RIS. And that's it. Let's see, B2 match. I don't know if you have any questions about the RIS part.
No, I think it's clear from our side. Yeah.
Great. B2 match, I explained you before. Go there if you want the recordings. You want to understand better how to write a good proposal, what the challenge area X is. Go there and educate yourself. I would recommend. And I think one of the most important ones is the FSM one. This is the webinar that explains you the return on investment. So I would like to conclude this presentation with some tips of what is a good project. And the first one is EIT Mobility, or EIT in general, is focused on making money, or at least getting a return on investment. We are not the usual Horizon Europe in which you do research and that's it. This is the aim of this is to develop products and services and get them on the market and reach profitability together. That means that in your proposal, you need to have certain things highlighted. One is you have to have very clear what your FSM is. Are you going to give equity? Are you going to do revenue sharing? These type of things. It means that, so that's where the webinars are about. It explains you a bit what these mechanisms are for financial sustainability. Secondly, your consortium should represent a commercial consortium. Of course, there are the cities to pilot. There is maybe a university to do or not do the research, but for certain activities. But if there is no industry partner, if there are no SMEs there, it's not very believable that you're going to make money, let's say. And it has to be a good product or service. I mean, we have some experts here that understand a bit what you're describing here as a product, with the TRI level you describe, with the ideas you have. Is this a competitive product? So that's the first part. Like, it's about profitability in one hand. So that makes a successful proposal. The second thing is, this year, more than previous years, we're going to be super focused on the demo, so the piloting or the implementation of the solution in the cities. So we have a stricter process of, so that's also why we put the KPIs mandatory. For us, it's very important to prove that the product is working. We want you to pilot it. That's why 2 mandatory KPIs are the living labs or the pilots. So they have to happen. And we won't be satisfied with a document and a report on this demo. We will actually come and test the solution. So it will be much more concrete this year. I think these are 2 very important tips. In terms of writing a good proposal, I would go to the proposal writing webinar. They give you very good tips on what the deliverable is and how many deliverables you would put, not too many. So I would go there for some tips. But in terms of strategy, make it commercial, show that it's a commercial project, and it has to be coherent. And the demos. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Judith. Maybe I can ask the participants, do you have any questions you would like to ask to Judith? Because I ask a lot of questions, but if you have any questions, maybe I can give the floor to the participants. Okay.
Hello. Hello, this is Abdullah from MTI Composites. So
Nice to meet you.
Thanks again for the informative presentation. So we are a startup, and we are just out of an accelerated program called Founder Institute, and we have.
I've worked there.
Yeah, great. So
I helped to facilitate the Barcelona Founder Institute program. So okay. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, okay, so great to know that. So we, of course, had a project that we run through that program, but we have other projects that we are interested to run with this EIT urban mobility. So how we apply, I think you have shown us a couple of pages that we can apply. So if you have more information, please share regarding the application process.
But so you are a new startup because Founder Institute is pre-seed accelerator, no?
Yes.
So what is, I don't know what the product exactly is and what you're doing, but like
ultralight, like bicycles or cargo bikes. And now we had a project, a side project running that we are developing a DC brushless motor to run e-bikes. So,
and what is it TRL? Because I mean, depending on the stage that you're in, maybe innovation is a couple of steps too far for you to. I have no overview of the stage you're in, but I mean, we just talked about TRL levels. It seems that you, I mean, pre-seed accelerator. So maybe the Department of Business Creation would offer you more opportunities, which I think that the colleagues in the Risk Hub know a lot about and they can explain you, but maybe the innovation call is 5 steps too far because we have some programs that happen that would be exactly an accelerator. So after the pre-seed, you have an accelerator, we have some investment opportunities, this kind of things. I think they might be more relevant, but I can be wrong. But I think that the Risk Hub can help you very well to pick the right program for you, the right opportunity.
Great. Can you share contact information?
I think we are the resource.
They can help you further. They will come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can discuss it later. Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Thanks.
No worries.
Okay, I think that's all. Thanks, Judith, for the presentation. I think it's very informative, and we have some questions about the application, so now it's very clear for us. And if we have any further questions, I think we will send emails to you.
Perfect. I'm always here.
Yeah, thank you very much. And now I would like to give the floor to Ayşegül to make her presentation.
So I want to say bye to everybody because I have to go to another call. It was nice to all meet you. And please email me. I will, if you want, I can send the presentation afterwards and you have my email. You can always ask me questions or you can go through the Risk Hub, of course. But thank you for inviting me.
We will get your presentation, right? We can.
I can send it to you, yeah. Okay, no problem. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
And good luck with the application. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Judith.
Ayşegül, the floor is yours. Yeah, now you can share your presentation.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, now we are seeing.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayşegül from Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. I'm working as a project engineer, and today I will give some experience and information about the EIT Urban Mobility projects of IMM. First of all, I would like to mention about Istanbul actually. With 15 million population, Istanbul is the most crowded city in Turkey and also in Europe. There are 32 million daily trips, and every day 600 new vehicles are added to Istanbul's traffic. And now approximately we have 4 million registered vehicles. And Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality is responsible for 32,000 kilometers road network. City of Istanbul is one of the core partners of EIT Urban Mobility since 2019. And it has got involved to 6 projects since it has joined EIT Urban Mobility. You can see our projects actually now. Our projects are about energy, environment, public transportation, traffic management, and citizen engagement. And regarding to these projects, there is 2 mobile applications. Also, it just announced yesterday. We got the Raptor project as Istanbul.
Ayşegül Hanım, we are not seeing your screen. Can you share it? Or we see the presentation, but not the full presentation slides.
Oh, really?
Do you have 2 screens or 1?
Yeah, I have actually, but okay.
Maybe
I will
you can
try again.
share again. Yeah, okay.
Niye 2 tane var?
Can you see now?
Now we are seeing the presentation PowerPoint slides, but not the full screen.
Just a second. I really don't know actually what happened.
Now we are seeing the slides, but it's not a full screen here. Maybe you can pass like this, it's okay.
Okay, I'm continuing.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Now it's okay or it's same?
Yeah, we are seeing the slides. Yeah, it's third slide, fourth slide. It's okay.
Okay. As our experience, there is 9 important steps for project management. The first one, if you need a solution, you have to understand your problem and create your resilience and inclusiveness profile and assemble your time. Time management, it's really important actually for the project management, and identify opportunities, prepare a concept, build, join consortium is a must. Just a second, sorry about my voice. And pitch your offer, negotiate your place, and finally proposal preparation. As I said before, you have to join or build consortium. For looking partners, you have to use actually these websites, and also Europe EIT Urban Mobility organize online or physical matchmaking events. So I think you should join this event series to find good partners for your projects. And key points of projects. When choosing your project partners, you need to pay attention to the suitability of their relation with the project goals. And after the project partners are determined, the task distribution should be made carefully. And time management, while preparing your proposal, it's really important for every partners to do their task on time. And also EIT pays great attention to the completion of the project to be done on the specified date. Therefore, it's important also match the capacity of the project with the time frame written. It was 2019. IMM couldn't get the project from EIT. It was COVID-19 calls. They actually liked our project, but they thought that we didn't have enough time to make this project. So time management is really important. And internal process. I think every company have to know their internal process very well. For example, for us, a tender process takes approximately 3 months. So when we are writing our proposal, we have to pay attention that time actually. And risk management, sometimes the project doesn't go on as you planned. So you have to consider your risk, and every time you have to have plan B for your project actually. And life cycle of projects, correct definition and implementation of KPIs at the beginning of the project, chance of knowledge transfer from different countries, and success of localization of the project. In cities, different solutions can be developed according to different human behaviors and social cultural tendencies. A model implemented for one city may not be necessity for another city. And what's the benefits of EIT Urban Mobility projects? EIT Urban Mobility project offer a mechanism to reduce innovation gaps within the European Union. It contributes to development of urban mobility between participating countries. And it offers innovative solutions related to urban and sustainable mobility, and supporting startup ecosystem in the field of urban mobility. It's really good chance actually for startups, because you have to improve yourself via these projects. and also support the professional development in the field of urban mobility. That's it from my side. If you have any question, I can answer your question, or you can write to me email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayşegül. Is there any questions to IMM? No. I think that's all. John, do you have any additional comment about the presentations or the event?
No, thank you very much. So the deadline for the call is 28th of April. Although it seems too near, too short, I think if we can, if the participants can form or create a good research concept, not the research concept, but innovation concept to turn into an economic value, still there is time to develop proposals, I believe.
Okay, maybe before closing the event, I would like to congratulate IMM and Fark Plus and BGI for Raptor call. You finally got the proposal, got the funding, and I hope it will a fruitful start of the collaboration with BGI because they are very active. I hope we can maybe prepare another proposal with them. And yeah, thanks for everybody for their participation. Now we can close the event. And if you have any questions, you can send emails or call us if you need any information for EIT Urban Mobility Innovation Call. Yeah, thanks again. I think now, John, you will close the
Yes, so
session.
I will end the session, and the recording of this meeting will be shared with all the participants. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.